Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered abroad and believers in the Messiah. Welcome, everybody. Hi, I'm Dave Sain, Senior Shepherd here at LMC. It's Friday night, which means it's time for our Hidden Manna here as the Sabbath is now approaching here on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Thank you so much for spending time with us tonight. Of course, I don't do this by myself. You can see my dear brothers with me. Pastor Matt is here, PM, and of course, Brother Max. Welcome, guys. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
I love the sound effect. Oh, that is great. Hey, if you guys are joining us for the first time, and you enjoy the content, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so that you're notified each time that we do go live. Send this out to somebody, share it with somebody. We would appreciate it. This way, more people check it out and come into the community that are thinking the way that we do, understanding the way that we do. We would certainly appreciate it. And if you haven't downloaded the LMC app, you can do that on the Google Play Store. You can do that on the App Store. Be in touch with us, all the different things that we're doing. All of our videos are on there, all of our teachings, our services. So we invite you to be part of the LMC family. And again, thank you to everybody else that is watching of our LMC family. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We sincerely appreciate it.
Definitely. And I got a birthday shout out for my brother-in-law. He's going to be Scott. His birthday's on the 10th, so we won't be live, but we want to wish him a happy birthday.
Oh, nice. Happy birthday, brother. Good for you.
Yes, happy birthday.
Good for you. My niece, Bethany, she's
That's
going.
right. Big news, yeah.
Yeah, big news. She's getting ready to have her baby. Right now, I think she's going to be going through surgical rather than
Yes.
a natural birth. So keep her in prayer. Her name is Bethany, if you would. We haven't heard anything since. If you hear something, Max, as we're doing this, please shout out. Yeah, give a little shout out. So we're definitely lifting her up in prayer and hoping and praying that everything just goes smoothly for her from this point on. Mm-hmm. So all sorts of good things going on, all sorts of crazy things going on every week. I mean, come on, which week is
it's
there?
The world we live in.
When has it not been crazy all over the world?
Yep.
Not every one day.
Yeah. Me and Matt were just sharing, even over here, we're under those Canadian wildfire smoke advisories. You can't be out there for like more than a half hour, man.
Yeah, you guys got hit with it pretty harsh over there.
Yeah.
They've been mentioning it in the city almost every day on the news, but nothing crazy.
Remember a couple of years ago, it was really bad here.
It was
Remember
like on Mars.
It looked like Mars. Yeah, the whole city was in fog. I think there's actually still, you can find some pictures online. It was insane. I was working out there in the city. I was like, it's disgusting. You couldn't breathe. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yep.
No, very, very apocalyptic looking, right? Like one of those horror movies where everything just gets destroyed.
Yep. It was like that Schwarzenegger movie when he lived on Mars, right?
Well, just a preview of what's coming.
The destruction.
Right?
I know, nothing that we should be laughing at, but
we're right here.
So there's some other really, really crazy prophetic news that's going on. And normally we have clips and stuff, but we're just going to share the information with you. But you guys can go online and find this. It's out there. You can go to X or YouTube and type it in, and you'll see the different videos on it. But when I heard this stuff, it was amazing. So number one newsworthy note is hold on a second. Excuse me, sorry guys. Just a couple of days ago on the Jewish calendar, which we're definitely going to be making some differentiation between the Jewish calendar, a lunar calendar, and a solar calendar, that of the temple calendar. But the 9th of Av just passed. Now, of course, the 9th of Av is the Jewish memorial of the destruction of both temples. They say the temple of Solomon, and of course, the temple in 70 AD by the Romans. So Nebuchadnezzar and the Romans. And on that day, now normally, I mean, I've never been to Jerusalem, but I've seen enough videos, done enough study on it. Jews were never allowed to go up on the Temple Mount. And just recently, they did go up on the Temple Mount, a small group of them. But this time, a large group of Jews were allowed onto the Temple Mount. And even when you do go onto the Temple Mount, there's people around that are making sure you don't pray. Don't close your eyes. Don't move your lips like you're in prayer. You can get in a lot of trouble for doing that, which is kind of nuts, just, thinking about how ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
But only Muslims, Islam, people of Islam are allowed to pray on the Temple Mount. At least that's their thing, even though it's right there in Jerusalem. But this 9th of Av, a group of people, Jews, went up there and they just openly prayed. I saw the pictures of videos of them laying on the ground, crying out, doing the whole thing where they do the shaking, the bobbing, and just all of that, which, both say, well, what's the big deal? That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really, really big deal. And you can see the right wing, the conservative, the religious wing of Judaism is taking more and more territory. They're pushing the boundaries further and further.
Mm-hmm.
So and of course you see what's going on with Gaza. Obviously, there's no Gaza left, but they just made an announcement this week. In fact, I think it was today. They just made an announcement today that Israel is going to take over Gaza.
Yep.
I mean, you didn't see that one coming? I saw that one coming a mile away. You knew that's what they were going to do.
Oh, yeah. Yep, from the beginning.
This is about regaining the land. They view it as a mistake that it was ever given up, and so
and they literally wear it on their sleeve, right? They show the greater Exodus.
Yep.
I mean, the greater Israel. Yeah,
the greater Israel's right on their sleeve. So so they're definitely marching towards that. And then the third thing, which is just, now this happened I think it happened last week. I forgot to mention it. I think Brother Paul sent me a little notice of it. But Israel, the government of Israel, just put out. It's not a law. It's a statement. And what they're doing is, it seems like they're trying to set the legal precedent in like sort of a memorandum now, like a notice to the world, so that when they do it, people can say, well, they didn't tell us they were going to do it. And the memorandum, or the statement that came out, is they made the statement that the West Bank belongs to Israel. Now, maybe some people might not realize. So you've got Gaza, which was quote unquote a Palestinian-owned land, but then the West Bank is also a Palestinian-owned land. And the whole idea since 1967 was that there was supposed to be a Palestinian state joining those two groups, and then there was supposed to be an Israeli state or a Jewish state, and then all the wars and everything that occurred because the Arabs didn't want that, and all the history that goes on. So right now you've got Gaza used to be run by the PLO, now by Hamas. It's crazy. You know what Hamas means in Hebrew? I think it's it's not evil. I forgot what the word. It means like evil or it's a bad word. It's a really, really bad word.
Evil.
Yeah, it's more than evil. But anyway, so the West Bank is also.
You can Google it.
Yeah,
you probably could. Yeah.
So the West Bank is also a Palestinian stronghold. Now, of course, the settlers have been pushing boundaries there and gaining more land and kicking Palestinians out. So Israel's trying to push that boundary as well. And they just put out a statement saying that land that the Palestinians are on belongs to Israel. So what's coming.
Yep.
Trying
to give fair warning before it actually happens. But I get it.
You know what's coming, but it's not by accident.
Yeah, it's on purpose.
It's intentional, but there's something bigger happening that makes a direct correlation to what we're going to talk about tonight in the Dead Sea Scrolls and the whole Essene community. They're really not called the Essenes. The whole Qumran community, and the Zadok priest that lead the Qumran community. In the area of the West Bank is the Qumran. That's part of the Qumran is in there. And the reason why they are, or at least it seems like, we'll wait and see. But about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, there was something that was started as a result of the Dead Sea Scrolls called the Copper Scroll Project. You guys can go online, you guys can Google this, and you guys get all sorts of information about the Copper Scroll Project. The guy that's been doing it, he was a fireman and a forensic guy in here in the States, and now he's leading this up in the Middle East there. Of course, they found all the scrolls. The scrolls were going to read, some of the Damascus scrolls and all the other stuff. But they found something else in the Qumran. They found a copper scroll. And on the copper scroll was the inventory and the locations of the gold of the first temple.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Which means the Ark of the Covenant, which means the utensils, the menorah.
Everything you can think of is all right there.
And the original tent of Moses.
Wow.
That's
that's crazy.
So
it's crazy to actually think that's actually it's there. Like, how long ago? Like, and just putting it again, this 21st century mindset. Like, we can literally almost grab it. It's literally right in front of us.
Well, they already know where it is because today with our technology, they have
see everything.
Mapping things.
Underground.
You ever see the guys on the beach looking for
metal combers, with the metal detectors.
Metal detectors. Well, you can set the metal detector for gold.
Yeah.
Well, they have much, much more sophisticated things than that. They've already done this in the Qumran.
Yeah.
They say it's Fort Knox.
Wow. I was about to say it goes beyond just the utensils of the tent. They also want that gold.
Oh no!
Because you're talking.
I'll take a gold spoon.
What was it? Gold spoon.
Come on,
Moses' baby spoon. but did they have the offerings? Right, people that brought the temple offering and all that too. All those gold, right? So
wow,
you can't imagine.
But you know what trumps it all, though, is the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, I was about to say that's big. That's why I was wondering. Is it just for those? For the Ark, or that greedy portion?
You get the Ark of the Covenant and you put that out in front, it's going to scare some people.
Well, I that's at least one very, very possible scenario as to what's going to happen. As to because what is it? Second Thessalonians says the lawless one's going to come and proclaim himself Elohim in the holy place. Well, we're thinking they're going to rebuild the temple, which who knows?
Could
they could, but they got to take the Temple Mount first, and that's going to cause all sorts of problems.
But if you get the Ark.
And the tabernacle.
I don't know about that. I think you'll definitely proclaim yourself as
The tabernacle is as holy as holy gets.
I think it still has power, man.
Didn't they see Raiders of the Lost Ark the first one?
Just when they bring it out, close your eyes.
Don't touch it. Just don't. Can't wear oven mitts or anything.
I love that line in Indiana Jones. He goes, Nazis. I hate Nazis.
Yep.
What a great line. What a great line. But
that's big time, man.
That's huge. So you think about it, Israel's making moves because if they declare that land is theirs, which they've already done in this public statement.
Everything in that land is theirs.
Everything in that land is theirs.
Yeah.
And so
that's some big steps. And I don't think a lot of people may see it that way. Again, as a biblical perspective, they're seeing it more as a regional or just mapping wise, like, oh, they're just trying to take over people.
They're just trying to kick the Palestinians out.
But
which they are.
There's no way around it.
There's no doubt that
they are. It is straightforward. I mean, they're pretty vocal about it.
Yeah, at this point, I think they took
you can see what they're doing.
They took a census, I think like a week or two ago, I saw they took a census of people in Israel, how many wanted just the total removal of the Palestinian people from the land. It was something like 60-something% of maybe even over that, almost 70% of the populace in Israel was for that. So, crazy. If we think it's crazy now.
There was even a clip on YouTube. I saw Jerry Seinfeld. Did you see that?
No.
Somebody took a selfie picture with him, and as they said it, they went, "Free Palestine," and he said something, I don't want to misquote, but he can give a crap about the Palestinian people.
Yeah.
Right on camera. Didn't even hide it.
Yeah.
But hey, it's been like that, right?
Listen, Hamas is a death cult. Yep. They're just a death cult, and they're bringing death to themselves. They're bringing death to the Palestinian people, and at this point, Israel's just going to oblige them, and it's crazy. It's sad, to see all the things that are going on, but this is the road to get us to prophecy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And but oh my goodness, yeah. So you guys can check out. It's called the Copper Scroll Project.
Yeah.
It's online. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. You can find out all sorts of information on it. It's really really interesting. But when you sort of war game this thing out, you realize, oh my goodness, is that what is that what's going to actually get done that brings the anti-messiah? Because who's anti-messiah? Well, I don't know. I know this may sound weird to people. Judaism is anti-messiah.
Mm.
They are anti-messiah.
Mm-hmm.
And a high priest from Judaism would be anti-messiah in the way that we understand it.
Yeah.
The Messiah who died and rose again. They're anti that. Absolutely. But that's another message for another day. But interesting stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So cool. But so that leads us right into the area of the Qumran that we're talking about today, the Dead Sea Scrolls. We started our message last week talking about both houses, the Sin of Korah, the whole house is together, but into two separate groups, how they rebel against the authority of Moses. They want to be priest, and they also want to be in charge. And this week we're going to talk about when the house is split up, because we know what the sin of Judah is. We're going to get into that more, but the sin of Judah is they want the priesthood,
Mm-hmm.
or they become an apostate priesthood, an evil, a wicked priesthood. But the sin of the northern house is different. And we'll get into that, but so this all stems. Obviously, it goes all because if he's telling us the ending from the beginning, this is stuff that's coming. Whatever happened in the beginning is gonna, to some degree, to a great degree, look like what has already happened. So, so the Dead Sea Scrolls. Hopefully, everybody has gotten their book. I'll put it up on the screen just one more time. I know you guys have seen it.
Yep.
There it is. Hopefully you guys have at least had the opportunity to read the Damascus document. It's about 20, 30 pages. The preface is really interesting. Read the preface. It'll give you a whole bunch of information, especially on Phariseeism and Sadduceeism. Because I think when we start to read our Bibles, when you open up your Bible and you just start reading, like let's say you just come to faith. If somebody says, you need to repent, you need to accept the Messiah as Savior. Wonderful. Awesome. So you read your Bible, and you open it up and you're like, there's John. All of a sudden, John's on the scene and he's baptizing in the Jordan. And they're asking him who he is. He's like, I'm the voice of one crying in the wilderness. And then the Pharisees and Sadducees come to him. And what does he do? He rips them apart.
Mm-hmm.
Your vipers, your snakes, your trees are going to get cut down. You better repent. And we go right into a story that none of us were aware of how that story started.
Context.
So let me ask you guys a question. This is, and I'm asking everybody that's watching too.
Rhetorical, right?
It's rhetorical.
We got this. We'll answer this one.
No, you guys can give me an answer to it. Everybody else can give me an answer. So we know each other, right? We've been at LMC long enough. So if I came up to you, I came up to somebody you didn't know, and the person asked you, and he says, "Hey, where you from? Where do you worship?" And you say something like, "Where we have eyes to see, and ears to hear, and a heart that's willing to obey." Now, unless you understand that, you'd be like, "These people are weird.
People are crazy. I'm walking away." Gosh.
But or so where you from? Well, I'm from where he is Yah, and there is no other. Or where you from? We love being loved by him. We love loving you, and we love being loved by you. So you say those things, and we, like, right, somebody said that, I'd be like, "Oh, you're part of LMC. You hang out with us every Shabbat," because these are things we say all the time. Mm-hmm. So you can identify us by the idioms, by the language that we use. You're not going to hear those words in most other places.
Probably not.
But they are definitely unique to us. So you can identify us by that. Well, there are words, there are phrases, there's idioms that are not Pharisaic idioms. These are not things the Pharisees teach. And by Pharisees, we mean all the way up till today, rabbinical Judaism. They are not part of rabbinical Judaism, nor were they in that day part of Sadduceical Judaism. These are not things that they said. But there is one group who's there who we don't realize is being mentioned over and over and over again, but they're not being called by a name that we would
associate,
quickly identify.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know the language, if you've got the context, automatically you can say, oh, wait a minute. That's the people of the Qumran.
Mm-hmm.
That's the people in the Arava, in the desert. That's that Essene community, as Josephus calls them, the Essenes, the pious ones, the righteous ones, the saints. And what has happened is we start reading as soon as we come into faith, we start reading, but we don't know the idioms. We don't know the language. And we haven't for a long time. And now all of a sudden, because of what's been discovered, and you begin to read the book, you begin to read through the scrolls, and you say, wait a minute, I recognize that. I know that saying. That's specific to what Messiah says, or Peter says, or Saul says, but it's not a Pharisee saying. Remember which is kind of crazy. I remember the first time I read this, I'm like, well, that's not me. Where the Messiah says, some people are called to be eunuchs.
Oh.
I mean, too late, right?
Yeah, right.
PM is proof. Some people are called to be. He goes, it's not for everybody, right? It's not for everybody, but some people. And you read that, and because in my mind, the first time I read it, I'm like, what are they talking about? Like monks or something? And there are no monks or quote unquote eunuchs in Phariseeism, nor in Sadduceeism. Guess where there are? The Essenes.
I knew that was rhetorical too, man.
And yet you answered.
Yeah.
I stay quiet.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
That's an Essene thing. So remember when the master says, go into Jerusalem, and when you see a man carrying a bucket of water, ask him. The master wants to have Passover at your master's home, your master's place, which sounds kind of okay. So how many people are there carrying buckets? How do you know which guy it is? There's got to be a gazillion different people. Well, first of all, we now know that they went to the Essene Quarter in Jerusalem, and we're going to find out. Maybe not today, but later on, I'm going to find out they celebrated a different Passover on a different day. Because the issue of the first century was also the calendar. So they find a guy. So why would a guy be carrying a bucket? Well, carrying a bucket of water is woman's work, right? How many examples? When Abraham sends his servant out to go find a bride for Isaac, to find Rebecca, right?
Yeah. Waters is count. Yeah,
right.
She's at the well.
She's at the well, and you think, okay. So you got 9, 10 camels. Get off your camel and water your camels yourself.
Yeah. Even with Moses, right? When he meet in Midian.
There's another one.
Women at the well. Yeah.
There's another one. Oh, the master.
Yeah.
In Samaria. Yeah.
Women at the well.
And so getting water.
Don't shoot the messenger, people. We're just saying.
It's not what we're saying.
I don't want to name any other woman's work.
It's not what we're saying.
Nope.
Listen.
There was no mop in the bucket.
You're burying us, man.
I can hear my wife. What?
No,
sorry, babe.
Yeah. No, but it was considered. Don't forget, the male female roles were very, very defined. And so that's not something men did, unless you were a eunuch. That's something women and children would do, because that was their job. Men, they got up and they went into the field and they were plowing or doing whatever with the animals. There was other jobs that were
certain role. Yeah.
They had a very, very defined role. So if you found someone in Jerusalem that was carrying water, well, either there's something wrong with that guy, that he's doing woman's work, or he's an Essene, who doesn't have a wife, who doesn't have children
Mhm.
because he's become celibate like
Yeah.
a monk to serve Yah through
Yep.
the Qumran community.
And just to backtrack a hair, even after the curse at the garden, what does he tell man? Right, woman will have to bear the childbirth with pain, and then men what to work the field, the sweat of the brow. Right,
Yep.
that was right from the beginning.
Well, I think in the scrolls, I don't know if you guys have read it yet, but I don't know if is it in the Damascus document, but there is a point in the scrolls where they sort of define the whole idea of marriage, because you're going back to the whole Genesis story. There's a role for the husband, there's a role for the wife,
Mm-hmm.
but within the Dead Sea Scrolls, it tells us that the instruction was for one man to marry one woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is really cool.
That was the intent. Yeah, you want to go ahead with that?
Yeah, when I was reading the other day, I was reading in the scrolls, and I couldn't believe it, because what's the one thing I think a lot of people that come across this when we're speaking to people about Torah and we're sharing, I'm talking about in Christendom, and what do they say? Oh, well, if that's a Torah commandment to only have one wife, why did King David have multiple wives? Why did Solomon have multiple wives? So when I was reading in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it says that David he didn't have the law. It was buried. It was still hidden. It wasn't revealed until Josiah was king. So he was not privy to those instructions, and neither was Solomon.
Wow.
They didn't know.
Isn't that crazy?
That
They did not
changes
know.
the whole concept.
Changes
Yeah.
everything.
Right?
That's
Does that make
honestly the
sense?
first thing
Because I
people
never
would
had
say.
an answer. I never had,
No.
oh, well,
It's like, I
It's
missed
King
that
David.
one. Yeah.
Above my pay grade. I don't know,
Yeah, people would say it's above me. I go talk to the other guy.
Yeah.
And how many groups, even among some Hebrew Torah observing groups, are I know
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
They're
that's what
talking
they want,
about
yeah.
having 2 or 3 wives. No, they did that because, and here's the crazy. So they lost the Torah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The multiple copies were not made. The kings and priests did not continue making copies. It doesn't until Josiah comes.
Mhm.
They don't find the Torah until Josiah. So you've got a couple of 100 years
You can do a lot in 100 years.
when the Torah was hidden from them. Now they knew the basic stories. They knew, passed down,
What was
from
mouth to
verbiage
mouth,
wise,
yeah.
the story of the Exodus and all that. So they had an understanding, but they didn't have the written code
Mhm.
until Josiah comes. And of course, what do, they find it behind the ark.
Mhm.
It's behind the ark. And then, of course, the whole story of Josiah, the great revival that occurs. So what a great example. So David didn't know.
Yeah.
But it does, I think the Zadok priests do say that, but he was righteous in his heart because he loved Yah. He was repentive. He went after Yah. So just so amazing. And they say the whole idea that it was husband and wife is modeled for us in taking up the animals into the ark.
Mhm. Which also probably explains why when he was transporting the ark, they didn't do it correctly the first time, right? Remember when what's his name?
Oh, you mean when he touched the ark?
Yeah. During the whole time. Then after that, right, he's doing the sacrifice like every 10 yards?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know. They had to go ask the priest, and if the priest remembered, but if they didn't have the book.
Yep.
Yeah, so all of a sudden it just opens up.
Everything makes sense. Yeah,
everything starts. Yeah, all the pieces start to, and that's how it's been as I've been reading through the Damascus scrolls, the War scroll, the Melchizedek scroll. I'm reading through it, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I understand that now. This makes sense, or that makes sense, and so it's been a great experience just going through this. I wanted to read a little bit of the Damascus scroll. Now this is another thing, because we're talking about idioms. That they didn't call themselves Essenes, right? That's what other people called them. That's what Josephus and some of the other historians, that's how they referred to them. That's even how Herod referred to them, because he makes the Essene quarter in the pious quarter in Jerusalem. They refer to themselves, however, as the Yahad. It comes from the word Echad. Mm-hmm. They were the community. They were the one community. They referred to themselves as the people of the new covenant.
Mhm.
They refer to themselves as the people of the way. All of a sudden, wait a second, wait, we know that word.
Mhm.
We know the people of the way. They
Yeah.
refer to themselves as the people of the way because they took Isaiah 40, verse 3, as sort of their, what's that called when like you open up a ministry or you start a business and you come up with a statement and it's like the
Statement of faith,
no, a vision.
vision. Oh,
Yeah,
vision. No.
yeah, like a statement. Yeah, a statement of faith. I guess is good, but like a vision statement, like a statement that sort
Oh,
of
yeah. What your vision
encompasses.
plan
Right.
or yeah.
Well, their vision statement was Isaiah 40, verse 3.
Hmm.
You know, voice in the wilderness. They were waiting to one of theirs would become the voice of the wilderness, making straight the one who's calling out before Yah to bring their God back to them. And of course, that
Mhm.
winds up to be John the
John.
Baptist,
Yep.
who comes from the desert,
Yep.
Mhm.
who comes from the area today we would call the West Bank,
Mhm.
or the area where Qumran is.
Hence
And
the tension between him and the Pharisees.
now all of a sudden you open up John. Now
You
I'm
got the
reading it.
context now. All these things matter. All these things are just adding up piece by piece by piece. And as it's not just guy who came out of the wilderness, understanding who this guy is and his name representing himself, where he's from, leads to that, as Max says, the tension between everything going on.
And the tension had been going on since about 180, 190 BC. So almost 200, over 200 years. Because and we'll see that as we read into the scroll, but
Yeah.
the history becomes that about 200 years before Messiah comes, you had already had the rise of Sadducees. You had the rise of Sadduceeism, even all the way in Ezekiel's time. And the Sadducees were very much they weren't like they were not like the Pharisees. They were very. In fact, you see this with Saul when Saul's on trial, how he realizes half of them are Pharisees and half of them are Sadducees, and he sides with the Pharisees to get them on his side to get out of trouble,
Mm.
because Pharisees do believe in a resurrection. So he says, I'm being persecuted for the resurrection. So all the Pharisees jump on his side, but Sadducees were pretty much deists. We hear all the time that all the people who signed the Declaration of Independence, that they were all Christians. No, a lot of them were deists,
Mm.
and Thomas Jefferson was a deist, and a deist like the Sadducees. They believed that there was a God, that there was an absolute belief that there is an Elohim, but their concept was that he's there, and we're here, and he's got nothing to do with us.
Mhm.
So there is a God. It's just he doesn't really care about us, and so we're just we're living our own lives. We're making our own
Mhm.
decisions, and when I die, that's it. You're just a piece of meat that's going to rot away. You live and you die. That's a deist view, and you see this in the book of Ezekiel as he's as Yah is showing them all the abominations that occurred within the temple, because the Zadok priests committed abominations too. It wasn't like they
Mhm.
were these perfect people, and they admit that. But you see, when you read in Ezekiel chapter 8, how they talk about they're doing all these things, and they say the Lord doesn't see us. And we read that as like they're hiding what they're doing, and Yah doesn't see it. But what it's really saying is that was a philosophy that was already starting, where they were saying he doesn't see us, he doesn't care.
Mm.
He doesn't care what we do, right? So we're just living our lives. Yeah, we acknowledge that he's there, but he doesn't have a hand in anything that we do. So that philosophy is growing from the time of Ezekiel, and it becomes known as Sadduceeism later on, where Phariseeism was much more. They wanted to be more Torah based, as opposed to the Sadducees. They believed in a resurrection. They believed in life after death and angels and so forth, which Sadducees did not. But they also believed in a couple things, that it was their job to interpret Torah, and that their interpretation of Torah, their authority for interpreting Torah, was passed down, they say, all the way from Moses all the way to them. But there's no historical documentation for that whatsoever, that some secret knowledge was given from rabbi to rabbi to rabbi, even though there were no rabbis back then. There was just priests, there was no rabbis. and that so they call it oral Torah. When we read it in our Bibles, it doesn't say oral Torah, it says the traditions.
Mm-hmm.
The traditions are the oral Torah.
Mm-hmm.
And so even Jews today, when they use the oral Torah, when the lead rabbis say something about the Torah that you should do this or you should do that, they considered their declaration equal with or even above the word of God. It was the word of God to them. So they've got this passed down secret knowledge that allows them to change. They changed the word. They added to it. They took away. They were called boundary breakers. We'll get into that hopefully a little bit. So these are the two groups that wind up. They fought each other too. There was a civil war that went on between Pharisees and Sadducees around 80, 90 BC. And I think it was the Pharisees left and went to Egypt, where the Essenes already were, because they got kicked out by both of them beforehand. And then when Rome comes in, they're allowed to come back, and the Essenes come back as well. In fact, they invite Rome in. We think that Rome just sort of took them over. No, they didn't. They invited Rome in because there was so much civil war, so much hatred between Pharisees and Sadducees. They were killing each other right and left. And so Rome comes in not to just take over everything, but to bring peace to it. And the Sadducees did the same thing with the Greeks, with Antiochus Epiphanes. They invited him in. They wanted him in. They were like, okay, put down all this rebellion that's going on. You can kill everybody so long as you put us in charge afterward. We're good with that. Which that was what they wanted. And so it went back and forth. So Rome comes in, and so they tried putting the Sadducees in charge. That didn't work because the Pharisees kept revolting. They kept killing each other. So then they put the Sadducees in charge. Well, that didn't work because they wound up revolting and killing each other. Then they put them both in charge, like on the Sanhedrin. That didn't work. They were still killing each other. So then they put Herod, an Idumean, who knows the Jews, but he's not Jewish. They made him king. That's when Messiah comes.
Yeah, you realize how men's heart power is a really big thing for man, huh?
It's all about authority.
Authority, power, right?
It goes right back to the sin of Korah. It was all about authority. They wanted power. They wanted authority. Meanwhile, the Essenes knew that, or the Zadok priest, this is going on in their time. We're going to find out that they get a visitation from Yah, and the teacher of righteousness, that is Messiah, tells them to go to the wilderness and to prepare the way and to teach the truth. And now when Rome comes in and Rome puts some sort of stability, at least they know they can come back to Israel from Egypt, because the Pharisees and Sadducees aren't just going to be able to just outright kill them, because Rome had rules. You had to follow law. You just couldn't just go kill everybody. So we often look at as Rome as like this bad, evil group, and yet in all reality, historically, they were the ones that brought some semblance of order to a nation that was in utter chaos. And so the whole reason
he didn't even want to kill the Mashiach. Right?
No.
Yeah,
and the reason they wind up destroying the temple is because the infighting, the rebelling. They were like, I think at that point Rome just said enough. Enough. And actually, not only did they destroy that temple, but then they went to Egypt, where the Essenes had another temple in a city called City of the Sun, Hierapolis, I think it is. Maybe I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. But they didn't destroy that temple because the people there, the Zadoks that were there, because if the Jews in Israel are doing this, they figured they're going to do the same thing in Egypt. But instead of fighting, they gave up, and they walked away from the temple. They knocked it down, they destroyed it, and they just walked away from it, rather than having happened to them what happened to Jerusalem. That is the utter destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. So all of a sudden, you begin to see, from a historical perspective, a very, very different story than Romans bad guys, Jews were the good guys. No, the Jews of that day, Pharisees and Sadducees, were murdering each other. They were revolting. There was, so even after the temple gets destroyed and Jerusalem gets destroyed, they tried to start the whole thing back up again at around 135 BC. This is the Bar Kokhba revolution that Hillel declares Bar Kokhba the Messiah. And of course, at this point, Rome's like, all right, enough. They come in, they sweep them all out. They change the name of Jerusalem to Cappadocia. They put up their own temple. I mean, they had enough. They just had enough, and they renamed the land Palestinia. And so all of a sudden, when you get that historical background, it's a very, very different story. So they hated each other. That's why John and the Essenes looked at the Pharisees and Sadducees as the wicked priests, as the people who move boundaries. They were not repentive. They were not walking in the things of Yah. They changed it. That's why there's the animosity between John the Baptist and the Pharisees and Sadducees. And then you ask yourself, so why is there animosity between Messiah and them? For the same reason. For the same reason. So, oh, wait. I just got a text from Olga. I guess the baby's there. Aelin, Aelin. I guess it's a boy. Aelin, is Aelin a boy's name?
I don't know. I'm trying to.
Aelin. Well, if that's true,
congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she's here. I was gonna say, I've never heard the word Aelin before. The name Aelin.
Nope. She's here. I know nothing else other than mom and baby are okay. They're good.
Yeah, mom and baby. Adam just tuned in. It's a girl. That's awesome. That's awesome. Good for them. Good for them. All right, so let's read a little bit of this.
Yep.
You guys got your.
Which one was it?
Oh, good. You can put it up there.
You got Matthew on there.
Was it this one? Oh, sorry.
No, that's the.
Yep.
Yeah, that's.
There we go. That'll be better.
No, that's the wrong one. Hold on a second. Let me do this. There we go. That's it. So, guys, in your Dead Sea Scrolls, we're going to be reading the Geniza A, column 1. This is page 52. So, if you've got your scrolls, you can read along with us there. It's going to start on page 51. Is really the beginning of it. This is the exhortation. So, this is really, really important. So, it's up on the screen too. If you guys don't have your copy of the Dead Sea Scrolls. So hopefully you guys can see it there. I'm gonna put my cursor. I don't know if my cursor comes up. Yeah, there it does. So this is this particular opening of the Damascus Scroll. First of all, think about this. They call themselves Damascus. They call themselves people of the way. They call themselves
Sons of Light, right?
Yahad. And here it is. They called themselves Sons of Light.
Sorry, I jumped ahead there, huh?
That's good.
No, it's good.
So this is fragmented. So, there's little pieces missing, but I think there's enough there that you can sort of fill in some of the blanks and understand what's being said. Which one do you guys want to, whoever wants to read a little bit, you can read right through to verse 7, which I think is where the fragment ends.
If you scroll down on the screen, I'll read it with you okay. From the children of light?
Yep.
All right. The children of light, to avoid the ways of evil until the time appointed for punishment is past, Elohim saw all her deeds, that they brought all to the boundary shifters, and all of it will be done in the era of wickedness. Listen to me, for now I shall make known to you the awesome, his wonderful miracles I shall relate to you, hidden from humanity. Heavens, who lives in the deepest he has sealed, in the commandments and in the offering, and they did not obey the voice of Moses. They went about spreading his lies about his laws, and from Elohim's covenant they strayed, both small and great. Please tell us about your ways, your conversation. You appeared and understood. They shall restore, and I am dust and ashes. Give heed, and then later generations, for surely they will come to pass what its beginning and what is ending, before it comes upon them. For it is not permitted to celebrate their holidays too early or too late. Yes, periods of Elohim's wrath. Whoa.
What happened there? What happened? I went a little bit too far. There you go. Periods of
Elohim's wrath are decreed for a people who know him not, and he has established times of favor for those who seek his commandments, and to those who live blamelessly in the proper way. He uncovered their eyes to the hidden things and opened their ears that they might hear deep things and understand future events before they happen to them.
All right.
Wow.
So
eyes to see, ears to hear, right there.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know. I think that's sounding real nice.
There you go. Eyes to see, ears to hear is not a Sadduceical or Pharisaical doctrine or teaching. Both Pharisees and Sadducees, they believe that the miracles, prophets, prophecy, that it all ended with Malachi.
Yeah.
So that there was like 400 years of nothing. So that's why they doubted John and they doubted Messiah. But there's also a Jewish or it's a Pharisaical, but it's it's Judaism today. There's this saying that even if a sound or a voice from heaven came down, it doesn't have the authority. Only what the rabbis say. So even so, the authority doesn't come from heaven, and they get that right out of the scroll, the scripture when Moses says the word of Yah is near you. It's not in heaven, that's far away,
or under the ear. Yeah.
So they twist, just like, so they're called the boundary breakers. They twisted it, and their doctrine became, well, the Torah is not in heaven anymore. The Torah is here among men, so we decide
can
what the
discern
Torah
it,
is.
and whatever. Yeah.
Which is obviously not.
Isn't that crazy too? How Catholicism did the same thing, right?
Catholicism
gave the Pope the final.
Give him the final say.
He's their God on earth, right?
Well, think about it. All of Christendom did the same thing. How many?
Yep.
I remember going through Bible college and seminary, and what they tell you is there's 400 years of nothing.
Yeah, they do.
And most denominations believe, Baptists and Lutherans and them, that all the gifts and everything, all the miracles stopped at Malachi.
Everything was silent. It was quiet.
And so they just picked up the Pharisaic and Sadduceic,
which makes
beliefs.
Honestly, you just put kind of sense to it. He's speaking through the whole entire time of the Old Testament with everybody, and then he just stops for 400 years. But
what's crazy is, even with that logic, what are his last words? Remember the Torah of Moses, right? So.
Yeah. So this is sort of the introduction, or what's called the exhortation to the Damascus document. And I want you to listen to, because this is a Qumran community idiom. It's like we said before, where you're from. Well, I'm from the place where we've got eyes to see, ears to hear, and hearts that are willing to obey. Oh, okay, you're from LMC, right? So how do they define themselves? Or one of the many ways that they define themselves is they are children of light. Now, I guess most of us would look at that and say, well, we're familiar with that. We're children of light, which means that we're in Messiah. We believe the word, right? We believe the word. So that makes us children of light. And it's not that that's necessarily wrong, but that's not really the whole idiom. That's not the whole thing, because the Pharisees, they didn't call themselves children of light, and the Sadducees didn't call themselves children of light. Only the Essenes did, or the Qumran community people. Mm-hmm. And why do they call themselves children of light? Well, it tells you down here. Where is it? Because it's not. Here it is. What is in the beginning, and what is its ending, before it comes upon them? For it is not permitted to celebrate their holidays too early or too late. Mm-hmm. Both Pharisees and Sadducees, at around 200 years before Messiah comes, changed to a lunar, actually a Greek calendar, a lunar calendar from the Zadok or from the temple solar calendar. So why do the Zadok and those who follow them call themselves sons of light? Because of the calendar they're following.
Yeah. Yep.
And why did they call the Pharisees and Sadducees
The dark
children of darkness?
Yeah.
Because they're following a lunar calendar. And so we don't realize this, but this is what John walks into. This is what Messiah walks into. So we know the term sons of light. Messiah uses it. He calls us children of light. He says he is the light. He is the, what is it? Malachi says the sun will rise with healing in his wings. That's a calendar thing. That's a.
And I remember being in Christendom reading that. I'm like, that misprint. It says S-U-N. Right? Yeah.
Yep. Even James says it. James 1.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. Good catch.
Pull you up on here.
Yeah, let me get to James here before I change it. Or you can change it while I'm
Yeah, you're good. It's like James 1:17, I believe.
James chapter 1 and verse 17. Good catch. You want to read that? Because we say this all the time, right?
Yeah. You can pull it. I don't know.
Okay. Verse 6 says, do not go.
You got to pull it up here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, I think I got to.
You got it?
I got to. Okay, stop sharing that one. Here we go. All right, there it is. Start at verse 16 if you can, if you got it.
Yeah, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no change, no shadow of turning, having proposed that he brought us forth by the word of truth, for us to be kind of first fruits of his creatures.
So here it is. Every good and every perfect gift. We say that all the time, right?
Every good and perfect gift comes from above.
The Father of lights. I know we don't read this way, but this is an Essene way of saying things. The Father of lights means calendar, sun.
Yeah. And the more you realize too, who else follows a lunar, right? The Muslims, what is it? The Hijab,
Muslims, the Babylonians, the Greeks, the Egyptians. The list just goes on and on and on and on. So you're telling me that God had Yah had his people just use the same calendar as everybody else was using?
Yeah,
that's not in
there with them. Yeah,
that's not separate. That's not distinct. So here it is. So for every good gift, every good and perfect gift comes down from the Father of lights, of light, right? With whom there is no change. So he's making this is a calendar statement. This is a typical Essene calendar statement because the light doesn't change. Whether it's springtime, fall time, winter time, summertime, when you look up, you see the whole sun. Now technically, as we rotate around it, we're seeing the front of the sun, we're seeing the back of the sun. If whichever is the front of the back, who knows which is which. But it looks exactly the same, right? It doesn't change. But the moon,
circuit, right?
But the moon
has different
changes.
Yep.
It has light, and then it's dark. A shadow of turning. He's making the statement between the two. This is a calendar statement. So when it says in John that all men loved darkness and that he is the light. So yes, it does mean he's come to bring the word and the word is light and all the rest of that. But these are calendar statements as well. Here's another one that I think is even more impressive. So once you learn the idioms, all of a sudden you start to read it and you realize, oh my goodness, yeah, okay, now I know what they're talking about. So here's 1 Thessalonians and chapter 5. Now, this is crazy. Now, brothers, as to the times and seasons, got to stop there a second. What's times and seasons?
Moedim, yeah.
The Moedim. He's talking about the Moedim. He's talking about the feast days. He's talking about the calendar. So he's saying, now, brothers, as to the calendar of when the Messiah is going to come. As to the Moedim that is given to us in the calendar as to when he's going to come, you don't need to be written to. So they knew it. And it's crazy because once you read through the Dead Sea Scrolls, they knew when he was going to come the first time, and they tell us when he's coming the second time. And the thing that's nuts is they were right. They were right. And Deuteronomy 13, when a prophet says something and it comes true, that's a prophet. So he says, now, brothers, according to the times and seasons, you don't need to be written to. They knew the Moedim, the correct Moedim. For you yourselves know very well that the day of Yah comes as a thief in the night. For when they say peace and safety, then suddenly destruction comes upon them as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. So the day of Yah comes on them as what?
Night
a thief in the night.
Yeah.
Not in the daytime, not in the sun. And this is all about times and season, Moedim and calendar. But you, brothers, are not in darkness, so that this day should overtake you as a thief. Why? Because you know the Moedim. You know the correct feast days. You know the calendar. I've told this to you already. You guys got this. He then goes on to say, but you, brothers, are not in darkness, so that this day should overtake you as a thief. Look at this. Look at verse 5. For you are all sons of light and sons of the day.
Wow.
As opposed to the Pharisees and Sadducees, we are not of the night or of the darkness. This is a calendar reference. This is an Essene reference. Isn't that crazy? There it is, right in front of us.
Pretty wild.
And this is not a Judaism term.
Yeah.
This is unique to the people of the Qumran. There's so much to go over. There's not a whole lot of time to get through all of this. I wanted to get into some of the history, because what they tell us is they give us in the Geniza A. This is page 52. They tell us about their journey, 390 years from the time of Nebuchadnezzar, all the battles that are going on. They realized they were sinners, they were messing up, but then they began to realize they repented, they began to seek righteousness. They fought the Pharisees, they fought the Sadducees, they were losing to them. They get kicked out, and they wandered for 20 years, and then the teacher of righteousness came to them. Now, if you listen to most of the commentaries, it says, well, the teacher of righteousness was a person, a man, some priest, some Zadok priest that came and said, hey, look, we're going to go to the wilderness. We're going to fulfill Isaiah 43. We're going to wait for the Messiah to come. That's if when you read through this thing, that's not what they said. They said the teacher of righteousness, both from the prophets and here, they're talking about, like when Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are in the fire, and Nebuchadnezzar looks in and he says, I see one like I put 3 in there, but there's 4. And one of them is like the Son of Man. Well, that's what we call a theophany or a Christophany. It's an Old Testament appearance before the incarnation of the Messiah. Abraham has 3 men that come to him, and 2 go to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And the one says, should we tell Abraham what we're about to do? And that's another one.
I think also with Samson.
Samson,
he visits his family, because they even say, what is your name? It's an excellent name, right?
Yeah.
And
probably Jacob wrestling is probably another one. So, but that's what they're saying happened, that they met the actual teacher of righteousness, and the teacher of righteousness told them to go to the Arava, to go and prepare the way, because one of their own will be the voice in the wilderness crying, make straight. Of course, who's the voice that does that?
Yeah.
John the Baptist.
Yep.
John the Immerser does it. So it cannot be. Let's go back to the Dead Sea Scrolls for a second. Let me stop sharing this. And can you put that up there? Yeah, we'll
on your end.
Go back to the Damascus document. I don't know if we can get to that page. It's actually, I probably wouldn't even be able to get to it there. I'll just read it to you. And if you guys got your actual Dead Sea Scrolls, you can look this up. You can put us on full screen. It'd be tough to try to scroll through all that. This is page 61 in your Dead Sea Scrolls. This is still part of the whole Damascus document. So the teacher of righteousness is the one that comes to them and tells them how to start. So this is like oh my goodness, like 160 AD, 170 AD. So this is about the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, who they declare is the one who tore down the Torah, who changed times and law. This is a prophecy they say is him. So if the teacher of righteousness came to them then this doesn't make sense, because here is talking about the Pharisees and Sadducees and what's going to happen, starting at verse 11. It's like a quarter way down on page 60. What did I say?
2 or 1?
61. It says, they have condemned along with the men of mockery, he's talking about the Pharisees, because they have uttered lies against the correct laws and rejected the sure covenant that they made in the land of Damascus. That's not Damascus in Syria. That's what they called Qumran. They called it Damascus. That is the new covenant. They're saying that the teacher of righteousness told them about the new covenant. So they started a community based on the new covenant. Verse 13, neither they nor their family shall have any part in the household of law, speaking about the Pharisees and Sadducees. Now here's the kicker. Now from the day the beloved teacher, that is the teacher of righteousness, passed away to the destruction of all warriors who went back to the man of lie, people who went back to the Pharisees after the teacher of righteousness comes, who go back to the Sadducees, to the man of lie, will be about 40 years. Now at that time, God's anger will burn against Israel. This is telling us from the death of the teacher of righteousness, anyone who's gone back and went back to the Pharisees and went back to Jerusalem, in about 40 years, they're going to be destroyed. And what happens about 40 years after Messiah's death? Jerusalem is destroyed.
Yep.
That's Deuteronomy 13. That's Deuteronomy 13. So it can't be a guy who was around 200 years before, because now he's telling us the teacher of righteousness dies. And about 40 years after he dies is the destruction of Israel. That's mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing.
That's awesome.
We got so much more to talk about, and we'll be doing this for a while. We'll pick out different parts of it and different prophecies. But the idioms for today is that they're called Damascus. We're called sons of light. You see it all throughout the scripture, back and forth. And this whole idea of the teacher of righteousness. And 40 years after his death, Israel is destroyed.
Wow.
And it absolutely is. It's amazing, guys.
I'm
telling
cool
you,
stuff, man.
It's amazing.
They knew the year the Messiah was coming. There's prophecy. They knew the year he was coming.
That's crazy.
And they know the year he's coming back. I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but if their calendar's correct, and I think it is, oh my goodness, OMG.
Some exciting stuff, man.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Really exciting. And so it's redefining my understanding of the gospel. It really is. So like I said, this is about way more than the calendar.
Yeah.
Calendar is important, but this goes way beyond the calendar. This is a context by which to understand what the actual discussions are that we're reading about in the New Testament. Anyway,
awesome.
Neat stuff. Oh man, I'm so happy for Bethany. That's awesome.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
For
that is great.
Grandma Olga.
Yep.
Good for her. Good for her. All right. Well, man, it's 8:35. Right? We were like 5 minutes over. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Tonight.
I did.
That was very good.
Yeah, I meant people watching.
No, just everything. Just like it's just fantastic.
No, it's cool once you start seeing, right?
Yeah,
like
man.
It's Can't unsee it.
Yeah, you start making those connections, and you just keep reading through the scrolls, and you're gonna be like, oh man, I recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
That makes absolute sense. So
Yep. Yep.
we'll get there. We'll get there. It's gonna take us a while, but we're gonna make some changes before the fall feast. But and I'm gonna prove there. I'm gonna show you, not by my own words. I'm gonna show you by theirs. The calendar Moses kept,
Mm.
which is mind blowing. We'll save that for another week.
Awesome. I'm just looking at the comments, see if anyone had anything to add.
Yeah, I didn't check out the oh, there we got a couple of comments on there. Hey guys, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Yep, Shabbat Shalom.
We need more time.
Yeah, we do. We need more time. I mean, we just touched. We just touched the tip of the iceberg on this. There's so much. We're not even done with even close to being done with the Damascus document. Wait till you get into the war scroll. Oh my goodness, it's crazy.
That's cool.
Anyway,
That's cool.
PM, why don't you lead us out for tonight?
Sure. Again, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We are so thrilled that you guys were here. For those who are watching later on, make sure you guys get the Dead Sea Scroll book. We're going to be going through it, honestly, week after week. And like we said last week, from our Wednesdays to our Fridays to our weekend services, everything is connecting. So definitely make sure you guys rewatch it, take notes, and ask as many questions as you would like. But with all that said, join us tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Be there bright and early, and we hope to have some great time in fellowship. And with all that, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, guys.